Hey guys, this is Rick, aka Longhorn Arrow, and today I'm going to be fighting World Boss Ebony Ma. I just recently reached the 5 wins milestone, so I'll be going through all my teams. I'll try to do it quickly this time since my Supergiant video ended up being almost an hour long. So I'm going to skip a lot of the explanation of why I choose certain strikers, and I'll just build my teams and then go fight and see if I can keep the length of the video down without having to do a ton of editing. And if I have time, I'll explain some of it later. So you're going to see through the videos that the World Boss videos that I post, that really I've pretty much got my 5 teams set for all World Bosses. There's only one slight adjustment I'll make, and that'll be in my 5th team, and I'll talk about that once I play him. So let's get started. Team Pim first. I'm going to use physical strikers. And by the way, I keep notes on all this, so I've been taking notes as I go along. It helps me because the teams that don't work, I cross them off the list, and so then I know the next week to try a modification. You know, if I get close, then I'll note the score that I got, and next week I'll make a change to maybe one of my strikers, or not the next week, but the next attempt. And then once I find a team that works, I keep using them, and then I work on additional teams. So Sharon Rogers and Hyperion are my last 2 guys. Okay, Team Pim, nothing secret here. So a lot of folks, especially in my alliance, have been talking about how frustrating it is that Ebony Ma cancels out your skills. You will see that happen from time to time. It's just a matter of timing and knowing how to use the skills, and kind of being okay with it canceling out some of your skills every now and then. So I like to always use 1-star skill, hop to the opposite side of him, then hit my 5-star skill, hop to the other side of him, use the co-op if it's ready. Doesn't matter to me if Ant-Man's 6-star skill got canceled when that happened, so long as my strikers were able to keep attacking. So you got to wait for him to reappear. When he disappears like that shadow strike or whatever it's called, before attacking, so that it works. Hop to the other side of him. 6-star or a 5-star again. Got canceled out, no worries. Hop to the other side of him. 6-star co-op. 1-star, hop to the other side of him. 5-star. 1-star. 6-star this time because my 5-star is not ready. So I may have, nope, it didn't waste it. 5-star. 1-star. 5-star. So Ant-Man's taking a little bit of damage right now. I'll keep an eye on that. Bring in Giant Man or one of the others if I have to. So far he's doing okay. Key is to try to get away from those columns if you can. Again, I like to do it by hitting the 1-star. Doesn't always work. You kind of rely on Ant-Man's dodge ability. But I do tend to get overconfident with his dodge, and I'll lose some matches, but at least I know the team works, so it's not a big deal to have to restart it. So if I lose here, I'll simply restart. And maybe that'll help some of you guys as well, is to know that even when some players are beating World Bosses 5 of 5, they're not necessarily doing it all on the first try. Maybe they are now, but it didn't start out that way. It took a lot of trial and error to get that to that point. One of the nice things about when his minions start appearing is that your skills are less likely to get canceled because there's a minion out there to attack. So I'm gonna switch to Giant Man real quick because Ant-Man was getting a little low on health there. Let Giant Man do some of the work and call co-op as often as possible. So the thing that's I don't like about Giant Man, a lot of people love that 5-star move. He does a lot of damage, but he's not invincible. He does take a lot of damage when he's doing it. Whereas, on the other hand, Yellow Jacket, his 1-star, he has great invincibility frames, doesn't take any damage, and he has high dodge. And same thing with Ant-Man. So, as you see, I'll switch to them for a little bit. Once I get Ebony Maw sufficiently low, then I'll bring Ant-Man back in to finish him off. So that was a little bit of a risky move there. Yeah, and in fact, I ended up dying as a result of it. Now I've lost Giant Man, which is the greatest thing. Let's see if I can still pull this off. Take it easy now. I got a minute to finish him off, so I'm not gonna get myself into trouble here. I'm gonna try my best to close this out, and I think I will. Hit the co-op there. Got it. 46 seconds left. Not bad. So I was pretty reckless there. I had my skills canceled out plenty of times, but still managed to pull it off. All right, next is my Captain Cube team. So I think the rest of the teams I'll be using don't really have a full 3-character bonus. I'm using a combination of 2-character teams to get the bonuses I want. And I'm doing this because initially when I was trying to figure out my teams, I was trying to save certain characters to provide better boosts to the characters that I felt were weaker and needed more help. So I saved Ronin, thinking that I would use him later for another Universal, and I never did. Use all my energy attackers, or not all my energy attackers. I always use Phil Coulson. Try to use Hyperion as often as I can. And in this case, since I don't have Sharon Rogers as a ally, since she's on the main team, I'm going to use War Machine instead. So, again, if you don't have these particular characters because they're paywalls, like Hyperion is a paywall, I might switch out Hyperion for another energy attacker or a damage reducer, like Yellow Jacket. But I'm going for the characters that are going to do the most damage for me when they appear as strikers to shorten the length of the battle as much as possible. Okay, it's really important to call Sharon Rogers' shield. Keep that shield up as much as possible, especially because you're going to be getting hit so much. Since her dodge isn't nearly as high as Ant-Man's, I'm going to have to, evade a lot more, run around a lot more, avoid getting hit. But she deals so much damage, it's still going to be a much quicker match. Need to avoid those light columns so I don't get stuck in them. So actually, because I am still reckless with Sharon Rogers, I usually tend to get her killed before I actually defeat Ebony Maw. But I've usually knocked him down so much that by then it's easy to finish him off using Captain Marvel. So, but I think I'm doing pretty time. I don't think there's any risk of that happening today. Haven't even used the co-op skill yet, so let's do that right now. Pull my shield. Where'd he go? There he is. Okay, on to the next team. So this next team should be a decent example of at least a primary team that is all farmable characters. Be Black Bolts, Loki, and Lash. Lash, of course, you can get using the Villain Siege Chaos tokens. And my Lash is not even fully mastered. You see, he's just level 60, but only 1-star mastery. I'm bringing him in mainly for the additional attack, and I'll tag him in every now and then if Loki is bleeding. But other than that, he doesn't really do much for me. Loki does all the work as he usually does. So energy attackers, I'm choosing the ones based on their striker appearance rate. If you look at Loki's character guide, I always use Phil Coulson, but he is a striker for Loki. Sister Grimm is a striker, but she also provides 10% energy attack. So here's where it's going to be different for me again. I'm going to use Carnage. So this actually differs a little for me than my normal Loki team when I fight other bosses. So now I'm going to use Carnage and Yellow Jacket. So if you look at Loki strikers, both Carnage and Yellow Jacket appear often. I think Yellow Jacket is a 19 or 20% rate of appearance, Carnage 22% when getting attacked. So that helps me because they're going to do some of the work. That way when Loki's skill gets canceled or I'm busy running away but I'm still getting attacked, they'll attack for me, and just enables me to not to have to work as hard. Let the clones and the strikers do a lot of the work. So I think this one's probably going to go pretty much the full 5 minutes, if I'm not mistaken, just because I'm not going to be able to, hit him as often as I'd like because he's going to keep disappearing. If I get a chance, I will use the 5-star. Do my best to avoid the columns, but I've got the shield on, so it's not too big a deal. So there goes Carnage, giving me a hand there. See, I'm not even, well, I think I hit the go-up button there, but Sister Grimm is showing up quite a bit without me doing anything. So even when I get hit by the columns, that ends up resulting in one of my strikers appearing. So it's actually, a really good thing to choose the strikers that are most likely to appear, especially against Ebony Maw, because you're going to be getting hit from all sides throughout the entire match. And with Loki, I find it the best strategy as far as the running around goes to be as random and unpredictable as possible so that the columns won't appear where you are. If you run around in a predictable circle, it's like they know where you're going. The AI seems to be good enough to know that you're running in a certain pattern, and then they'll just appear right where you are. But if you're random about it, it's a lot less likelihood that you're going to get caught by them. See, look at that. Phil, Carnage, they all show up for me, giving me a hand. Nobody showed up that time, though. There we go. So, took me 3 minutes. Not bad. I'll go show you what I'm talking about. So, and I never had to use Black Bolt or Lash at all. Real quick, I'm just going to very quickly show you Loki's stats, just in case you haven't seen his stats in a while, or my Loki stats in a while. If I can find him. Scrolling too fast. There he is. 10k energy attack. Recovery rate is coming almost exclusively from my card sets. High critical rate. Somewhat decent damage. I would prefer to have that a little critical damage. I would prefer to have it higher. And then I know nothing exciting about my gear builds. I have an old critical rate booster on him. So real quick, let me show you again what I was talking about Loki strikers. All the ones I chose are strikers for him. Singularity 17%, Sister Grimm 18%, Phil Coulson. Oh, actually, Phil Coulson's not in here, but he doesn't have a good co-op producer, so I use him anyway. And he was showing up quite a bit anyway, so I guess it, you know, the rules don't always apply, I guess. But Carnage for sure, and we saw him show up a lot, and Yellow Jacket for sure. So there we go. All right, on to the next team. This is gonna be my Kingpin, Carnage, and Superior Spider-Man team. So another paywall character, but I think most folks know that he's an important one to work on. Although you have to purchase the daily bios to get him. Physical strikers, Hulkbuster, Giant Man, Phil Coulson, as always. And Yellow Jacket. Where is Yellow Jacket? There he is. There we go. I'll tag these characters in and out frequently, trying to keep Carnage alive. I gotta heal Carnage frequently. Do a lot of avoiding, calling in the co-op. Same basic strategy, just applied just a little bit differently to maximize the skills of the current characters. So Kingpin's minions are very nice here because you can evade while the minions are doing the work for you. Hit him with the 3-star, switch to Carnage. 5-star got canceled, or 6-star got canceled. Evade. 6-star. If you time it right, you can hit your 3-star right as the 3 columns show up, and you'll move in towards Ebony Maw and attack him and heal all at the same time. But it, doesn't always work out that way. Switch. Pretty much just going to use Superior Spider-Man's 6-star. Occasionally his 3-star, just to sort of provide a distraction more than anything. It doesn't seem to do a whole lot of damage. And then go for my 6-star again before I hit the co-op and then tag out. Minions. Just like I did with Loki, trying not to run in any predictable pattern, zigzag. Don't stop it, still for too long. Don't want to get hit by the columns. And just keep moving. Use the 5-star like that occasionally to help me sort of dodge, physically dodge. And if I'm lucky, get a little bit of attack on Ebony Maw at the same time. I believe I have drastic density enhancement on Kingpin. I'm not positive. I'll check on that. Maybe it's just one of his skills that a shield will pop up periodically. I actually can't quite remember at the moment. I'll check that right after if I win. So, Carnage is at max gears, at 20 on all his gears. I have an old recovery booster on him. Actually, I gotta check that too. I think I actually did recently switch and put an obelisk on him. So I lost a little bit of recovery, but I think I gained some critical damage or critical rate. So I'll check that out also after this is over. But I need to, of course, boost his recovery rate. So that's a must for his special gear. And I think that's what it was. I wasn't having a whole lot of success with him before when I had strictly the old recovery rate booster. So I decided to go ahead that it was worth losing a little bit of recovery rate in order to get heal in order to boost one of his critical stats. Switch to Kingpin real quick. And he's going to go out. Switch back to Superior Spider-Man. Co-op. Run. 3-star to help distract a little bit. You got to avoid those, basically step in between those telegraph beams when you see them to avoid his meteors or whatever they are. Mostly using his 6-star. He's probably gonna die before I finish. I'll go ahead and call my 3-star heal because it'll attack the minions, which is fine with me. My primary goal there. Lost him. So I'll probably lose this one. I'll have to do it over again. I'm almost resigned to that now. Let's see, maybe I can do it. I don't think so. 16 seconds? No, I'm not gonna do it. So we'll try again as soon as this is over. Might as well give it a shot. Nope. All right, second try. So, and the last 2 teams, pretty much against any world boss, I rarely get them on my first time. I don't go through all 5 teams and beat the world boss on the first try. It usually takes me 2, sometimes 3 tries on my last 2 teams. I forget what the real strategy was, and I get excited. I'm not cautious enough while attacking. All right, as always, when it's time for me to really get serious about beating a world boss or alliance battle, I talk less, play more. Strategies are the same as what I said in the previous match that I lost. Like I did with Supergiant yesterday when I fought her with Sister Grimm, for these last two teams that I'm going to fight Maul with, it's important to try to keep him on screen, but yet you keep distance between you and him. That way you know where he is, first of all, and you know where he's likely to reappear. And where the attacks are going to be coming from, of course. So, and I really like to try to draw him into the center. I don't like him to be off on the edge like that. It's not always the easiest thing to draw him back into the center. But I find that it does help a lot when I do. Gives me a little more space to run around and evade. Additionally, like you saw there, when those telegraph beams show up and he's about to throw his meteors, I like to run away to give me a lot more space between the meteors as possible, rather than running towards him or even you know, only to the side. I run away, get a lot more space. I can then make another evasive maneuver if I have to. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. All right. Switch for a little while. Random pattern of kiting as possible. Try not to stay still in one place for too long. Try not to use skills that'll keep you stationary for very long. Keep moving, call co-op as soon as it's safe. Your skills will get canceled out. Don't worry about it too much. Just attack at the next opportunity. That 5-star skill does pretty much nothing as far as I can tell. Sometimes you just have no other choice. Lost Superior Spidey. See if I can still pull this off. You see all my cards activating up there. This is definitely nice. They recommend working on your cards. Try not to equip any cards that have resists or any kind of elemental damage as the first or second option. Focus only on the cards that provide your basic attack and critical rate, critical damage, those things. You know, it's almost possible to avoid ending up with some resist on your cards. It's not necessarily a bad thing, they're just not the most helpful. Man, I'm certainly not on pace here. If this video ends up being too long, I'll probably have to cut some of this out. Okay, try again. Okay, this is going to be attempt number 3, and hopefully third time's a charm. So the previous 2 times I basically ran out of time. I did lose Superior Spider-Man and Carnage before it was over. So I gotta rethink my strategy. I gotta think what I was doing wrong. First off, I need to deal a lot more damage. So that means using Carnage's 6-star more frequently, using the co-op skill more frequently. I gotta survive longer, so that means healing more often. And tagging out when necessary to keep Carnage alive. So this time around, when I see his Ebony Maw's telegraph that he's going to throw those meteors, he's got those the fan of telegraphs showing up. I'm going to oh, that's not good for me. Didn't do too much damage. Sorry about that. My wife came home and I had to pause it so I wasn't ignoring her as she told me about her day. And I'll probably have to go on silent mode while I finish this in just a little bit. Key is when you get in trouble, don't panic. Stick to the game plan. No doubt.